Four minutes past 8, Sunday, 22nd, I think it is, of August. And we are hoping to get closer to the border to make the crossing tomorrow, but I've been having a think about it. I'm thinking, well, shit, if the line's like 8 hours long or something or other, as was reported on the news last night, then we may as well just keep going and get there and see if we can get through the pain today. 220 odd K to go to the border. We're not due to go through until tomorrow, but I've been in the territory now for over 2 weeks, so there should not be a problem. It was just basically a matter of whether I was going to be eligible within that time or whatever, I think. So we, looking at the news last night and seeing that the line was 8 hours long, they reckon. Don't know whether that's true or not. Is that because of the number of vehicles or because they're slow processing, one or the other? Well, I figured, well, what the hell, we might as well make a run for it, get there and then deal with it when we get there and see what happens. The biggest problem is, once we get through the border, is where do we stop overnight? And that could involve some night driving, which I don't particularly want to do. Anyway, we'll just see what happens. You can't predict, you can't look ahead, all you can do is deal with what's happening at the moment. At the moment I've got a vehicle coming towards me with a caravan on the back. I was thinking about the caravan that went ace over yesterday, and I was hoping that the people that were in it, in the vehicle, because the car went over as well, it wasn't just a matter of the caravan tipping over and the car staying upright, they both went over. Hoping that the people that were there were not hurt, or badly shaken at worst. The couple that were remaining, their vehicle had gone, so hopefully someone had taken the other two, or however many there were, on to get some sort of help. They're an elderly couple. I'd say elderly, geez, could be the same age as me, I might be the same age as them, I don't know. But you just hope that if anything it was a mechanical problem and not a problem with either travelling too quick or having some external sort of force get in and tip them over and create the problem. Anyway, unfortunately it does happen, it happens too often. You just got to hope that it doesn't happen to you. Try and stay within the bounds of control. Timber Creek was 40 kilometres from where we were last night, and we've done 7, so it's not that far away. We'll top up the sub-tank and then we'll go from there. Yet another turn off to Top Springs. All roads lead to Top Springs apparently. 29 to Timber Creek, Kununurra 254. Kununurra is not our objective, it's the border. Dealing with that. Oh, it's a lovely range of hills up here, look at it. Now there's something that intrigues me. These patches that are burnt, why do they only burn little patches? I can understand they burn a little patch and any animals that are in there can get out, get into the other areas. But when do they come back and burn those other areas? Is there a reason for it? Interesting. Good morning guys, have you come across the border? Yeah, mate.
And we just came from Timber Creek, sorry.
Oh, righto. Well, you're not much good to me, are you?
Sorry, boys. There'll be someone eventually anyway.
Of course there will. You guys have a great day, eh?
You too, mate. Drive safe. You got a couple of wild brumbies up to the road, but that's about it.
Okay, thank you very much. So, we've got a couple of brumbies to deal with somewhere down the road. Oh, well. Well, I've still got my mate the fly in here with me. I thought he'd have got out a long time ago. Yeah, they were just off to the left-hand side of the road, those horses. As long as they stay out there and not on the road, that's all we need to worry about. Oh, look at that face there. Problem is it looks so small on the camera, but it's not, it's real, it's big. Mind you, to try to translate from looking at it on a small screen to looking at it on a big screen, totally different look. Durack Monument coming up. That was an interesting drive out there. Have a look at that back in 2013. The Durack Monument back there on the was, of course, it's a depiction of a branding rail. On the top there. So this is Timber Creek. Okay, so we've had a coffee, we've uploaded yesterday's blog, tried to make a couple of phone calls, and we're on our way. It is 9:20. Oh, we just had a roller go past the other way. A real roller, you know, one of the older ones. There's a few old cars happening up here at the moment. Tell you what, it's hot and it's steamy. Only one place to be on a day like today. It's in the car travelling with the aircon cranked. The thing being is, of course, when you get to the border and you're in line, you sit there with the engine idling, then you use a lot of diesel. But that's the way it goes, I suppose. What was that ding for? Oh shit, here we go, G2G. Okay. Let's find some more, pull over and have a read of it. This might do. No, it won't. I didn't check my emails this morning. I should have done. Oh dear, Gregory's tree is off to the right hand side. This marker is just down the road. 24-hour camping area here. This is East Baines River. I pulled in last time. Someone left a set of steps here. But anyway, got a tooth that's giving me a bit of shit at the moment, so I'm going to grab a couple of Panadol and we'll keep moving. Okay, that's having fun with the 12-volt system at the moment. Last night while I was watching TV, they're cooking dinner, and all of a sudden the lights all went out and the whole 12-volt system went down. I thought, what the... So anyway, I jumped out, had a look. I couldn't see without... I wasn't ready to go looking at fuses because I had food cooking, but I left the vent open, or left the boot lid open, and after a while the lights came back on again. And I got a feeling that it probably overheats in there or something or other. Batteries get hot or something or other. So anyway, I pulled up then. Before I left this morning, I had a look, and the HUD sign kept coming up on the Morning Star little controller thing. I pushed the button a few times to see if I could reset it. I hopped in the van just then, because there's no pump, no 12 volt. Oh shit. So I had a look at the Morning Star thing again. Boot, and the red light was on, so I pushed the button and the light went off, a couple of flashes, so held it down for a moment or two and then pushed it again and the red light was on, so I pushed it, the red light went off, and go back and check the caravan and everything's back there again. So yeah, it's always something to keep the brain ticking over. Tell you what though, you leave the engine running and you go and you're doing what you're doing outside, and it is quite warm, it's quite steamy out there, it's going to get even warmer. King Billabong. And got back to the car and it's nice and cool. Beautiful. Righto, onwards. A few animals on the road here. Amazing, they've got all of Australia to graze in, and they stand right beside the road. 130 to Kununurra, so about 100 to the border, or 93 or 94, something like that. Talking to someone going the other way a little while ago, and he reckoned that the line was probably a couple of 100 metres long at that point in time. He said there's a lot of traffic heading west in front of me at the moment, so it will be what it will be. I can't believe how good the steering box is, or how much difference the steering box has made to the steering of the car. It's made the whole trip quite pleasant. I'm not sort of chasing the car all over the road. Sit here, you can drive one finger sort of thing and point it down the road and away she goes. It's been good. So that was a worthwhile investment. Also the air conditioner, that has made things very pleasant at the moment. As far as the alternator is concerned, well, of course it's just been plugging along nicely, which it should do, of course. So we spent a couple of grand on getting the car up to spec before we left, and all has gone extremely well in that regard. Anything that has gone wrong has been stuff that I've created myself on the roads I've travelled on and that sort of thing, but we've ironed most of that out as well. I had a problem with the microwave oven in that I bolted the thing down and then it still came loose. And I checked it out, and what it's bolted to is actually that little northern masonite. So what was happening is the thing was moving around and started to cut a channel. So it was sliding around in the channel. So I went searching and I tried something. I thought, well, it can only work or not work. And I found some Velcro. I put that underneath it and it hasn't budged since. Mind you, I haven't been on, well, yes I have, I've been on some of those Queensland roads have been pretty rough. There's been a couple of rough ones along here as well, but it seems to have sat pretty well. So we've had a few things test us. The 12 volt thing, that's still a strange one, but once we get the fridge bolted in again, the fridge hasn't moved and we've had no problems with 12 volt other than, I mentioned a short while ago, and that is that it seems to be a heat related problem, which I can understand. I mean, the temperatures are running mid to high 30s up here at the moment, and the batteries and everything are all encased in the boot area. And then when you're charging up the batteries, the inverter and everything, it's all generating heat. So I've just got to be mindful that I've got to open that boot while I'm doing things, and then hopefully that'll solve most of the problems. It would make sense if there was some sort of venting in there, and there doesn't seem to be. I guess a lot of these things are built off of a drawing board. They don't really test them out in the field. Oh, look at that hill in front of us, that bluff. This is not going to come up on the telly terribly well, I don't think, but oh wow. Then I think I said that last time we drove through here. Looking at the map on my dashboard, there's a range of hills goes through there, and the road runs through the middle of it. Well, that's where we're heading now. The road doesn't run through that gap there, it runs around here. Then that runs alongside of us, so we run up the middle of it. There's another range running parallel to these, and that comes in a little bit later on the northern side. And that's that one directly in front of us. That's on the northern side of the road. The southern side. Oh, this is just awesome country up here, awesome. There's certainly a line of traffic coming up behind me. Whoa, a great big pothole right in the middle of the road, and I hit it with the right hand wheel. Well, in the past, if we'd done that, it would have sent the front end into severe shakes and wobbles and all the rest of it. So obviously, a lot of the problem we were chasing were replacing all the bits and pieces in the front end of the car to try and eliminate that severe rattle and jumping around and everything on the front end. It was the steering box all along, but it's okay because it means that the rest of the car's been updated as we've gone anyway. Got to have a look at bushes and shock absorbers next. I think they're just about done their time. The country chops and changes. Just spoke to a guy going the other way. He went through the border about 20 minutes ago. He said there's a queue there. He said there's probably about 25 vans there. He said we're the first one he's passed since then. So I guess that's where we're at. Oh, this is crazy. I'm actually catching someone. There's those hills that are sort of typical of south of Kununurra coming in, well, west of Kununurra coming in. Heading down towards the Coburn rest area. There's a rest area up here on the right, and I was hoping that he would go in there, but he hasn't. Oh well. Just gorgeous country through here. Different again. What does this sign say? Road damage. West Australia. Ah, right, okay. That road, at least Duncan Road just there, it takes you up to the zebra mine. This is the caravan behind you. Are you on you on channel? Yeah, g'day. I'm quite surprised I've actually caught up to you because I'm only travelling at 80, but there you go. Okay, we'll go around you. Thank you very much. The border's 5 kilometres away. So we've established one thing, and that is that the line of traffic is not 5 kilometres long. This should be the road turn up to Keep River, which it is. Camping in the bush there. So we're 1 kilometre out. Right, it's 11:50, 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock. And that's Northern Territory time, and we've arrived apparently 1 kilometre out from the border. So we'll see what happens from here. 12:13. We haven't moved. According to my map, we're 630 metres from the border. Someone's just said that unless you got somewhere.
Guys with the tractors, I hope you got somewhere to stay.
Oh, I've got the tractors in front of me. Apparently if you've got nowhere to stay, then they're not letting you through.
Make sure you got a flushing toilet as well.
Ah, some interesting stuff coming through. Okay, so we're at the border, and the tractors haven't moved forward. And meanwhile, the line is starting to grow. Not a lot, but it hasn't moved either. So we got the guys and the tractors there, and there is a 100-metre gap, but they're not moving up. And there's a bigger gap apparently up ahead of them And I'm thinking, for goodness sake, you know, at least if you're moving, you get a sense of having achieved something. Oh, is there movement at the station? Do I see movement at the station?
I'm going to drive out here and go up into that gap and do a 3-point turn in the road and come back.
Well, are they on the move, or are they?
I don't know. Are they moving?
Yeah, I said to them, you know, just move forward the 100 metres so everybody thinks something's happening. $12:30, and the tractors have decided to now close up the gap. It's only about 100 metres, but it's 100 metres for all that. $12:37, and we are now actually advancing a wee bit. Okay, it's 12:55. We need to make some sandwich. Download G2 Pass update, and the line have moved on. 1:26, and I've got my updated G2 Pass for them, but we'll see what happens from here. It's now 3:40 Northern Territory time. We're still sitting here, so it's been a fairly long wait. Slow process. 4 o'clock, and there's a change of shift happening here. If my confirmation doesn't come back from Wyndham by the time I get in there, I've just got to tell them, look, I'm still waiting on the confirmation, go around, wait for that to come, and then come back through again. It's 4:10, and I'm still waiting on confirmation that I can get into the Wyndham caravan park. So essentially the situation is that when you reach the border here, you have to have somewhere booked in a suitable, acceptable premises to isolate it. Isolate being that you're not allowed to leave that premise, no one's allowed to come and see you, no one's allowed to come and do anything. So if you're in your caravan, you've got to stay in your caravan all the time until you receive the confirmation that all is good with your test. So that's what the isolation thing is. The problem is that when you ring around, there's no one here does isolation. I've rung as far as Fitzroy Crossing, Halls Creek, and around Kununurra, and nothing. I rang Parry Creek. No, sorry, we don't. The police won't allow us to do it. The Wyndham Caravan Park is apparently set up to do it. Somewhere in the government hasn't thought this through, to my way of thinking. The whole thing is ridiculous. 4:40 in the afternoon, and we're finally through. Just the fact that I had contacted Wyndham, that was okay for me to go. Oh, thank God for that. That is stress out of the way. Now I've got to go to the hospital and see if I can get a COVID test before I leave. Otherwise I've got to come back down from Wyndham tomorrow. I also learnt something today. I could not get anything happening phone-wise with my phone. I ended up, thought, right, desperate measures. I went and I reset the network settings, and everything's fine. I thought, oh, goodness gracious me. So, there you go. Yeah, that's a day that I don't want to repeat again in a hurry if I can help it. I think the government, basically, the basic concept they've got that okay, but unfortunately the implementation of it is pretty ordinary. You know, who makes the decisions and decides how things work, I don't know. The staff at the border, they were fine. Well, they were with me. Processed me very quickly, as it turned out. But the fact that we were there for 5.5 hours or whatever it was before we got processed, and in that time I moved 635 metres, because that's how far from the border I was when I got there at 11 o'clock this morning. It was at 12 o'clock. Maybe it was 4.5 hours I was there, I don't know, whatever it was. It was slow going. We got given the rundown as to what was happening and how it was happening and what we needed to do and what we needed to have. Well, I had all that. Except what you hadn't been told was that we had to isolate. We were not allowed to free camp when we got through. We had to go to an approved premises, and an approved premises is something where whoever was putting you up would then sign a form saying that yes, they will be in isolation, they will not be in contact with anybody else, they will not leave their whatever it is, their room or their caravan or whatever it is, until such time as their confirmation of their COVID test comes through. That's the next point. We get through that and we're sitting in 35 degree heat, let's say 35 degree heat, absolutely nothing for anybody, no water, no toilets, nothing. So you're all going to be totally self-contained. People who aren't self-contained, well, they're left there. There's nothing for them. So, yeah, once we get through, well then we've got to go and do the self-isolation thing. Now, if you haven't booked in to somewhere and told them that you want to self-isolate, or you need to self-isolate, you have to self-isolate, then that's no good. These people have got to come back with a certificate saying, or with a letter or whatever it is saying, yes, this is what it is. But if you ring around and say, look, I'm at the border, I've been told I have to self-isolate, or I have to isolate for 3 days, can you help me? No, I am sorry, we do not do self-isolation, or we do not do isolation. We do not comply with what the police want. The police have told us we can't do it because of this, because of that, because of whatever. I rang around Kununurra, I rang Parry Creek, I rang Balls Creek, I rang Fitzroy Crossing. Every one of them said no. As it turned out, the only one that has accepted or sent us back a response was at Wyndham. And as it turned out, they still haven't given me a booking, but the police officer accepted that as, okay, no, I see you've applied, they've sent that back, which basically says yes, they can fit you in. So, ta-da. So that was the story. The government haven't done their job with regard to ensuring that people can get to their COVID test simply and easily. They should have been done at the border, and they've done nothing about ensuring that people have somewhere to isolate when the time comes after they cross the border. Even if it's securing an oval or something and telling everybody you've got to camp in there, and then policing it so that people aren't intermingling with each other. If they reckon it can be done in the caravan park, or it can be done somewhere else, surely it can be done in something like that. And that hasn't happened. So to me, it's a right royal stuff-up in that regard. It hasn't been thought through. And I somehow feel as though it's not going to be corrected. Well, there goes this Kununurra. Then we're going to find the hospital. We'll find the COVID testing clinic. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Okay, so we're still working on Northern Territory time. And it's now 6:08 and I just had my COVID test. What I have to do now is drive directly to Wyndham Caribbean Park. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. Then I have to stay there for at least 70 or until I receive my OK. If I haven't received the OK within 72 hours, I've got a number to ring to get them to chase it up. It's an unpowered site, and I just had a look at the batteries, and the batteries are down. So somehow or rather we're going to get those back up again. It'll be enough for me to have my snooter on during the night, but certainly won't be watching any television or IndyCar stuff or anything. It's a pain, but that's the way it is. Can't get a powered site. It's 106 kilometres up to Wyndham. And I think what we might do, we might fuel up here before we go. We are allowed to do that. If there's diesel at this pump, and there is diesel at this pump. So we're leaving Kununurra. It's the quickest trip I've done through the place. Won't be coming back. Not like a hell of a lot anyway. There's a gravel tip in there to the left, which is beautiful for camping, but unfortunately not allowed. Cost me $100. Once upon a time, and that sun's in just the right place. It's directly in front of us. Still talking on Northern Territory time. It's 7 minutes past 7 and we're now approaching 24-hour stopping area. There's only one thing: we're not allowed to stop there. We have to keep going. We're still 60 kilometres away from our 55 kilometres away from our target, which is Wyndham. Why Wyndham? Because that's the only place we're allowed to go to. Way out of our way. River Road heading off to the left. We've got about 40 to go. We've knocked the tempo back a bit. We're only doing 72, 73 kilometres now, but it's more than enough. I don't have the eyesight I had when I was a 20-year-old. This is the turn off to the grotto coming up. Seems to have taken forever to get here. Mind you, at this speed it probably has taken forever to get here. Still quite warm outside. A little light behind me, I don't know what the hell it is. Just a reflection of the moon, or is it someone behind me, or what? No idea. Something we haven't seen since Queensland, and that is overtaking lanes. Right behind me is the moon reflecting off the lights of the windows of the caravan. It's It's unsettling, but it's happening on the other side as well, which is a bit crazy. No one trying to overtake me. Not that I'm letting them. Yeah, it's interesting how overtaking lanes going downhill as well as uphill. I think this is downhill. Would have thought there'd be an overtaking lane on the other side, but there's not. So the Parry Creek Farm turn-off is coming up now. Soon. Certainly said to have made some major upgrades to this road. Well, look at those signs into Parry Creek. Turn off past at 7:42. This is getting to be a long day. Well, there's a vehicle in front of us. Just looking at this the light on the trees. I thought, hello, what's going on here? But no, he is. There's a bloke in front of us. His lights just went out the way. Road to the left went to the Diggers Rest station, which is around by where I believe the prison tree is. Still very warm outside. Stick your hand out and it cooks. Quite chilly inside at the moment. I wish it had worked this well today while I was sitting inside trying to stay cool in the heat. But of course, it doesn't work like that. You've got to keep the car moving for everything to sort of work properly, because the air flows through the condenser, of course. And that wasn't happening. Wyndham. Yeah, we're just going to find the caravan park. The crocodile. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. Oh, good on you, girl. Thank you. Thank you. So well, there you go. She's just got out, she said.
Caravan Park, Sharon speaking.
Yeah, hi Sharon, it's Laurie Kibblewhite. Here,
You guys out the front going to be self-isolating?
I'm right outside the front, yes.
Yep, perfect. I'll just come and see you and I'll just walk you in and we'll get you a spot. I'll see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're right. No worries, bye.
Bye. Yeah, you got no idea.
Just follow along behind me really slowly and we'll get you parked up and then we'll sort it tomorrow.
Thanks. Thank you, Sharon. This is Sharon leading us into Dusty Road, 2 kilometres. Dusty Paddock, she said. It's 8:05 Northern Territory time. And she's going to do her best to try and get us into a powered site tomorrow, so we'll see how we go from there. But
If you want to just pretty much nose into that corner, you can just stay hooked up and we can just drive you out tomorrow. Does that
Yep.
sound okay?
no, that'll be fine. If you enjoyed this video, there's over 200 more just like it on this channel. Subscribe and hit the notification bell and we'll let you know when our next video is available. If you like this video, hit the like button. And if you weren't that impressed, please don't hit the dislike button. Instead, tell us why, so that we can do something about it. Thanks for watching.